Okay, we're live.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our reading. I am so thrilled to have you here. I want to say thank you to everyone who's joining us from Madison, Wisconsin. We are going to start our program. I'm going to read the bios, and then the poets are going to read for like 7 minutes or so. We're going to go to Wisconsin. We're going to move to California, New Mexico, Washington, and then we're going to close with me in Madison. So sit back, relax, get your favorite beverage, and enjoy. I have wonderful poets for you here. And these are all my friends. So it's wonderful to have them. So I'm going to read Dana's bio. We have Dana Maya, poet and essayist. Dana Maya is from the Mexican diaspora. She was educated at Vassar College and did her master's and doctoral studies in Chicanx and transnational literatures at UT Austin. Her work has appeared in Feminist Formations, Volta, the anthologies, Listen to Your Mother, and Basta, 100 plus Latinas Against Gender Violence, zines, city buses, memorial sites, museums, and other public spaces. She collaborates with artists across national borders on projects for social change and writes with a collective of poets called the Spontaneous Writing Booth. Recent works have responded to youth incarceration, strangers, diagnosis, gun violence, immigration, and longing and belonging. And I just want to say before she reads, I met Dana when we were collaborating with Planned Parenthood and a celebration for Roe versus Wade, and we became friends like that. And we've been friends this whole time. So please welcome Dana.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Angie, for organizing this, and to Araceli Esparza for getting us technologically connected. That is such a power. Thank you. I'm honored to be among all of you poetas, and thank you to everyone listening to make poetry happen tonight and every day. I realized I'm reading tonight a lot of poems on being strangers, on strangerness, which is something that I realize I've been fascinated with through all of my writing life. And I sort of have a project emerging on strangers. And as we know, the depth of strangers has gotten much more complex during the time of COVID and the uprisings that we're living in. So this first poem is a family story about my parents and the meeting across nations and cultures. It's a stranger poem called Leviathan, and my mama is listening in Guanajuato right now. Hi, mommy. Leviathan, Lansing, Michigan, 1964. My father tells the story of one of your first dates. You went to see La Dolce Vita, Fellini. He came from a fishing town on Lake Michigan, Pentwater. You came from a port city on the Gulf of Mexico, Veracruz. He may have thought you were simple because you spoke only a few words in your new language, English. In the end, Marcello Mastroianni and the partiers, tired from their long night of amusements, stumble to the beach and see fishermen pull a giant stingray from the sea, heave the mass of his body from net to sand. Leviathan, his one black eye shining, their faces encircled in its lens. My father says when the show was over and you stepped from the theater, his mind was a dark sea stirred like a pot of ointment, confusion. You explained to him, catching each new word like a slippery fish in your mouth, that the beast's eye reflected to the people their own monstrosity. In that instant, a shore receded. My father glimpsed the stranger he'd befriended, caught his own image in the dark pool of your eye, and saw what strangeness itself could see. Okay, this next poem is a poem of solidarity. It's a poem for Black lives, and it's a poem that has to do with being neighbors. It was written in honor of a young person in my neighborhood. It was written in 2015. And the heart hurt and the heart power is that this poem is still for him and still for Black lives in 2020. Trigger warning that this poem has gun violence, strong gun violence in it. So take care of yourselves if you need to. How to Live in Sirens, for Tony Robinson and the queer and trans leaders of the Young, Gifted, and Black Coalition, and Ferguson to Madison, 2015, and for Black Lives Now, still 2020. Once they call the cops, go ahead and call it murder, because he's forced the door and inside shot a Black child once and then 5 times, torso, shoulder, head. His life pulled up his body across his unarmed arms, over his crown like an undressing. The long garment of his blood pulled down the stairs and dropped onto the cement stoop. Once they call the police, go ahead and call it familiar. Call murder home, because we call this Willie Street. The way a boy named Anthony is called Tony, Trudell, Willie Street, near the co-op, the Social Justice Center, the street banners that say a place for all people. Once they call the cops, the dispatch will call him a suspect. The chief of police will call him the subject to the press. The press will call him a Black man, though all the neighbors say kid, say teen, and Tony, Terrell, say scared, though his friends call him funny, and his grandma says gentle. Once they call the police, the signs will say, hashtag Tony Robinson, and the chants will ring, what's his name, what's his name? You'll recall Nina calling young, gifted, and Black, your soul intact, and Baraka singing urgent, calling you, calling all Black people, calling you come in. Once the cops are called, it's a world gone siren, and the sound is submit, lay down. The chief and the press and the preachers, the open letters call for peace and objectivity and to wait for the facts. You know this hell song, same verses, more Black lives, and you're a siren too, called and calling the same horror one more time. Once the world's gone siren, think of Odysseus in that old story, how he survived the calls without crashing on the rocks. Lash your body to the mast, be the mast, let your ears flood with cries, beg to be released into some final sound, want it like a lover and don't submit. Be the rowers, stop up your ears with wax, then keep rowing. Get to the end of this poem and don't stop, because you know this poem is nobody's son, not a life, not a boy I ever knew. This poem is not that child. This last poem, it's really a group of prose poems on strangers written in this time of the last 6 months, and it's in 3 parts. The first one is being strangers. In Spanish, a word for stranger is extranjera, which is also foreigner. Stranger is foreigner, immigrant. And the word for strange is extraño, but extraño also means to miss, to long for. I remember the words te extraño as the ache of longing for my abuelita, for her casita, which was my other home, the one I left every year. As the taxi pulled away from her house on Calle Libertad in the dark before daybreak, I'd miss her already as I went home to my familiar foreign, my foreign familiar. Strange extranjera that I am. Talking to strangers. My dad always talked to strangers, too much and too long. The waitress waiting for the joke's punchline as we sat, our shoulders hunched down, the cashier patiently accepting his compliment. I apologized to her with my eyes. He depended on the kindness of strangers in a strange way, because most of all, he offered kindness to them, picked up hitchhikers, gave his last crumpled bills to panhandlers, took drifters home to sleep on his couch. Sometimes, as his kin, I felt kind, sometimes scared. Sometimes I choked on anger that he couldn't see how strange he was, or see that they were strangers, or worse, that I was his strange familiar, receding, pulling my own coat around my shoulders. Missing strangers. Do you miss eating near strangers, riding the bus with them, watching concerts with strangers, shopping among them, standing impatiently behind strangers, walking the sidewalk among them at a little distance, nonchalant, or admiring the boots and coats of strangers, looking at the napes of their stranger necks without a thought, or pretending to ignore them, being indifferent to or oh so different than strangers? Have you ever cried over strangers so much, or over their babies, or their parents in hospital rooms? Have you watched strangers hurt strangers in the street? Have you hurt such strange and such terrible hurts? Have you witnessed and failed to witness it all, the vast land, the strange fires? Did you see the marches, the gatherings of strangers in the street? And what's the strangest among all the feelings visiting your heart? Thank you.
Here we go. Thank you, Dana. That was wonderful. Yeah, strangers. Well, we're not strangers. Next, we have up Araceli Esparza, an extraordinary woman in her own right. I met Araceli maybe through Dana at a reading. I don't remember, but someone I took to right away, and I recognized that there was something in her that spoke to me. So I'm going to read her bio. And I'm so thankful for Dana and Araceli's friendship here in Madison. This is your bio from your website. To me, being a Latinx writer means to be able to catch fires, to bring forth something from labor and sweat, to have enough when there's not a lot. Araceli Esparza is a Latinx Poeta, MFA graduate from Hamline University with strong migrant farmer roots, and recently published in the Asterisk Journal. You can also catch her on NPR quite often. Araceli Esparza is a Latinx Poeta with strong migrant works, and here we go. She was also named 2015 Woman to Watch by Brava magazine. Please welcome Araceli Esparza and follow her on Facebook and Instagram. And I couldn't do this without her. She's behind the curtain tonight. So thank you.
For sure. No, thank you, Angie. This is such a pleasure to just to be with y'all in poetry tonight. And this is, we think about one time a year, but really it's every day. Every day we need to celebrate each other and each other's voices. No matter who we are, you are able to have a voice. What I know. So I'll just start. This is like from the beginning of my memoir. But yeah, what I know. I know a lot of things. I know that my voice has scientific relevance. I know that my oppression has given me skills that are valuable for resistance and just to keep the lights on. I know that my lineage matters. I carry with me hundreds of stories, both known and unknown, in my body. Even now, typing this, my throat hurts, tears come out, and my fingers begin a dance that I don't even know. I don't even know what I'm going to type next. But I do know one thing. I know that it's needed. I know that my voice is many. I knew it as a child when I heard them speaking in tongues in church. I knew it when what they were saying. I've seen ghosts. I've been dead. I've been raped. I've seen life. I've seen blood, and I have past life. And I've been hit, and I've been in love several times. My voice has brought me great joy and many troubles. Troubles staying focused, troubles going into tangents, not belonging, outing, gossiping, talking shit, being insecure in my choices. But my voice has always brought me value, and my voice has acknowledged those who are not here, those 86 families taken during this raid. It is 2018. 3,000 children have been taken. I numbered this voice when it was too much. My next poem is about, okay, so it's like 2010, and I'm working at this like major nonprofit agency in town, and Obama has done the, you know, the stimulus act, and it's called ARA. It's called ARA, right? The ARA, the ARA Act. Anyways, so yeah, one of my coworkers, he's having a hard time understanding why I don't think socialism is dead. It's interesting, when I wrote this poem, I didn't really think about the word social. And to me, it was like, that's just who we are. We're all socialist type of people. We all socialize. But this is the poem for him. This is a poem for a guy who thinks that socialism is dead and that what we have is the only way to govern, because my imagination goes a little bit further than that. And this is 2010. Come over here, little girl. We have some candy for that big thinking head of yours. All right, let's slow it down. Now I go to the river where I lay my burdens down so I can wake up in the morning light and remember a time that I didn't live, but I know existed. A time of quiet silence, a time of just living, of hunting, of fighting with folks who you can see, of cooking, learning, and just being human. But I carry these souvenirs of fears and tears with chains of oppression and doubt. My load was generational curses and fatherless homes. Working class, poverty-driven fears drive you to work and to a job that goes nowhere. I'm burning for a personal revolution every night, going to my free meal, getting my pantry filled. Shit, what happened to my motherfucking American dream? It must be too big to hold on because my back is broken, my legs are tired, and my hands are calloused from carrying these little dreams. It must be the water, because complacency has become a social disease. Shit, we might as well just lay down. Why can't we organize fucking protests with kids in tow? Why isn't objecting seen as some sort of nostalgic generational thing that is summed up by some hippie rock shed event? I know that I'm more worth than that. And that's fast food job that only pays $6 an hour, doesn't include any insurance of any kind. Just call in sick, just miss your bus, and bye-bye, shitty ass job. Fuck, I didn't like that job anyways, is what you tell yourself on the way home with no money, no ambition, no hope. The capitalist machine has just sucked you up and spit you dry. Call me a socialist, call me a feminista, call me a bitter bitch, but isn't it written somewhere in that constitution of yours that when people feel that their government isn't upholding their own, we have a right? No, let me stop here. We have a motherfucking obligation to overthrow it and find a better solution. Oh, but wait, let's hold on here, because as a pussy ass writer, all I need is for the man to come over, chop off my legs so I don't write this, so I can justify it on the 5 o'clock news. Beat your rebel fucking thinking woman. You think too much, you talk too much. Woman, go get me a fucking chicken pot pie. Yes, Poppy, she says. Shut up. Who wants to hear that? Come on now, loosen up a little bit. Have another round. Let's see what celeb has gotten locked up. Listen to the fake ass news. Read about that local kitten stuck in a tree. Remember, the world is just another world away. And that, my friends, was 2010. So let's bring it all together. So some of the things that I have write about a lot of times has to do with a reaction, perhaps a response. So this next poem is called Audience Participation. And as you're all sitting back and having a moment with us, I want to thank you for listening to us. We have still 4 or 5 more poets here in the lineup. So I hope that you stay with us and listen to the rest of us too, because we all have a voice here, and I hope that you utilize your voice in these next couple of days and speak up, speak your truth. That's all we want to hear is your truth. So this is a little bit of called audience participation. Raise your hand if you're a parent, a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, a teacher of a child. That's about everybody right now, right? So when I wrote this, COVID wasn't happening. So all right, poet interjects here that everyone right now can raise their hand. The following is a speech of Guadalupe Garcia Rios' child, her daughter. Guadalupe had lived in the United States for almost 20 years. This is what her daughter said to reporters on Thursday, November 14th of 2017. No one should ever go through the pain of having their mother taken away from them, or the pain of packing her suitcase. No one should go through their mother's clothes saying, oh, she's going to need this or she's going to need that. No one should be packing their mother's suitcase. And yet here I am. I am going to keep on fighting for my mom. I'm going to keep on fighting for my mom and the other families that are going through this because it is unfair, really sad. I don't have any words because it's just sad. This world, what this world has come to, it's really sad that this world has come to. My response at 11 p.m., February 9th on Twitter. You want Chicano poetry? Listen to this niña's corazón breaking as their mommy is getting paddy wagoned out of town. Deportation, the new mic drop? Hashtag deportation postmodern. Chicana reality. Chicana reality is when your daughter is safe and another one is sleeping alone. Porque se los llevan, mami. Hashtag migrant nightmares. Como la flor, tanto amor que se la arrancaron de su corazón y se la llevaron a otra tierra. Hashtag illegal pollination. It's not enough to outlaw our tongue. They rip out our mothers away too. Hashtag this is what the world has come to. And this is what the world has come to. We still have immigrant families in cages, and we're still living this nightmare. And some of these poems were dated over 5 years ago. And so I hope you continue to enjoy the rest of the folks that are going to speak tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Araceli. Thank you for your powerful words. And you remind me, we need to vote. We're coming on an election, whatever we can do. So thank you. Our next poet is someone I've known for some time, Alida Cardós Whaley. And I met Alida when I was working with the ACLU of Wisconsin. And Alida has spent some time with me in poetry workshops, and I'm so thankful they are here tonight. And it's the eve of their birthday. So I'm going to read Alida's bio, and Alida, I'm doing my best here. Alida Cardós Whaley, aka Chalchicoto, is an Indije Kirindux cultural web worker, Indije scholar, and parent to 2 elders. They are raised at Minowakin with ancestral homelands at Mayab. Chalchicoto writes to cope, make meaning, remember, pray, unearth, and witness. You can find them researching, tending to plant relatives, making medicine, renowned for that, and organizing mutual aid networks of care with Ayuda Mechuhu Milwaukee, and follow them and their comrades. And we will put those in the comments, Alida, so people can look at those. And please welcome Alida. And Alida, I have to say, is the first person I ever nominated for a pushcart as a publisher. Yeah.
Thank you, Auntie. Thank you, Tia. Hello, everyone. I feel nervous and I have a big smile. You might hear my little elders screaming in the background as they're working together to eat and find something to watch. Hello, welcome. I have some of my things here that I'm going to read from. And I would like to begin by introducing myself a little bit. Hello, my name is Alida, aka Chalchicoatl. My pronouns are they and them, in Spanish, ella. And I am a poet, a parent, and cultural web worker, many things. And I'm here right now at Minowakin, which I carry the always to introduce the lands that I have been growing at, that I'm coming from. And these homelands are ancestral homelands of Menominee, Ho-Chunk, and Potawatomi relatives. And I also we recognize these lands as Black liberator lands, sacred lands. I descend from European immigrant settlers and indigenous Maya of Mayab, or the Yucatan Peninsula. And I have some poems here that I would like to share with you. This first one is called, they didn't let me type the real title on Facebook. And the title that was not allowed on Facebook was honestly I don't think white people should be having children with non-white people. A brown Ihe just told their white mother about their commitment of their lineages to trans liberation, Black liberation, and Indigenous sovereignty. Brown Ihe shares that they will no longer contort or silence themselves for the comfort of their white family. Then Brown Ihe invites white mother to show up, begin learning about white privilege and anti-racism. White mother says no, says she is not white, she is a person of color, she is pink. And her ancestors were farmers, maybe even slaves themselves. White mother says she will not interrogate herself for being white, nor will she be reprogrammed by some class on white privilege. White mother says she lives in Sherman Park, the most diverse neighborhood in Milwaukee. White mother says she raised Brown Ihe as a single mother and sent Brown Ihe to the best schools. Brown Ihe played for the best soccer clubs, got college paid for because white mother kept herself poor enough. White mother continues that white grandmother and white sister traveled all over for soccer games and cross country meets. And did white sister like it? White mother says Brown Ihe was able to use Mexican heritage to advantage. White mother says she used Brown Ihe's Mexican heritage to an advantage. And what does white sister get? Loans and debt and nothing. Says white mother. So who is privileged? White mother says. And her weaponizing of white sister stings. White mother says the world is under attack. We are losing our freedoms. The takeover has begun. In 10 years, Brown Ihe will be chopped, tracked, and controlled. Microchipped, not chopped. White mother corrects herself. You need agua. Can you ask Lele to help you get agua, please? I'm reading poems. Can you help Ical, please? In the table. Yes, little elders. White mother tells Brown Ihe to do research, to know their history and know who is running the show. We have lost our freedoms little by little ever since 9/11. Propaganda, censorship, fear mongering for your safety. That's how the Nazis did it, white mother says. White mother is not done yet. She will not bow down to kiss anyone's feet. She has struggled and kept herself poor, sacrificed to give Brown Ihe the best of everything. White mother says she will not apologize for it. White mother says no white privilege here, just a struggling single mother trying to give her children the best of everything. White mother says she is offended. White mother says Brown Ihe denies their heritage and where they come from, dismisses all white mother did and white grandmother too because they are white. White mother says Brown Ihe needs to interrogate themselves. Brown Ihe cries and shakes and feels like a volcano or a tomatillo right before they burst through their husk. Brown Ihe sheds, mourns, grieves, releases, screams, burns, stretches, grows, and writes this poem a year and a half earlier. I write. I write to understand myself, to understand my ancestors, to understand the future, which is also now, like building a protective field with song and rhythm. I write to advocate for myself, to take a deeper breath into all I am. I write, I sing, I exist with purpose and will pay it no mind when settlers come for me. I will sing a ceremonial wind to sweep you away. Pay it no mind, I will, when descendants of colonizers who continue to be colonizers stand in my face and demand acknowledgement of their pain. Descendants of colonizers who continue to be colonizers talk at me about how they feel excluded from my activism, about how they see danger in ethnic solidarity, about how their white gayness or white womanhood, white single motherhood matters too. They want to be told they're sacred. They want a seat at another table because they don't feel like building their own. It's too much work to cut down a tree, they say. It's too much to chop the wood, they say. I don't have a knife. Can I use yours? They say. And my poems roll their eyes at their sharp nails that were just holding my relative's throat. Why don't you ask someone else? I say. Why don't you take a workshop about how to build a table? Why don't you just try and see what happens? But this poem was supposed to be about me. This poem rolls its eyes. Stay focused, it tells me. Do we owe our birth parents anything they want because they labored to bring us here? What if they are not honoring our sacred path? What then? What about them? The white settler artist asks me what they are supposed to make art about. The white settler author illustrator asks me why they cannot tell another story about another brown child. The radical white settler teacher compares being white and gay to anything they can get their claws on. The white mother of a brown daughter says, white relatives are sacred too, after a brown daughter reads the dedication of ofrenda. All the poems stare. And I would like to close with this short poem. Hopefully I'm good on time. Ancestor affirmation. I see you. I see you, ancestors. I see you conjuring. I see you conjuring me. I see you conjuring me for a good fight. I see ancestors. Light-skinned brown girl being raised on the north side, being raised on the far side, lejos from cultura, pero not lejos from cultura. I see you. I see me, ancestors, reflecting. I love you, and I love me, ancestors. You are within me. You exist. I exist. We exist because I am from a legacy, a tapestry, a real old spell, a burial mound, a seedling. I see me. That's okay, baby. Come. I can hold space for me. I can hold space for you. Ancestors, we are safe here. We will always have a home here. Thank you.
The poems roll their eyes. I love it. That's great. Thank you. Next, we have Georgina Marie. I'm going to get this out and read this and make sure I do Georgina Marie credit. She's a poet from Lake County, Northern California, and the current Lake County Poet Laureate for 2022. And I met Georgina via Facebook. She reached out to me and she said, "Hey, you're the first Latina, and so am I. We should get to know each other." And I'm like, yes, we should. She's the first Mexican American and the youngest to serve in the role for Lake County. She has served as co-editor for the Middletown Art Center's Resilience and Restore collections of written word and visual arts, and is an assistant poetry editor for Rivet Journal, an online literary journal from Redbridge Press. She was an Angie Lo-Cascio Scholar for the Mendocino Ghostwriters Conference 2020. As part of the Broken Nose Collective and annual chapbook exchange, she created her first poetry chapbook, Finding the Roots of Water, in 2018, and her second chapbook, Tree Speak, in 2019. In 2020, she is working on her full-length manuscript. Please welcome Georgina Marie.
Thank you so much, Angie. I'm excited to read with all of you tonight, and thanks so much for including me. This group is amazing so far. So I'd like to read 4 poems, and they should be under 7 minutes. So this first one is called Let the River Run Brown. Frida Kahlo said, "Make pain be a talisman that heals." So I let it hang on my neck, braided into turquoise beads, intertwined with a kind of detachment as it makes itself known to the near world. It isn't sterling or gold or privileged, a charred symbol now, thanks to its emblem being burnt over time, burning like the lands of Lake County when we need water the most. I dreamt it rained and soothed the land, soothed the grinding and stirring of ache in my bones. This pain doesn't have a name. or a voice. I try to speak of it, but my human mouth finds itself fraught with dirt, dry, from a history of being buried underneath a language I cannot speak. I speak more Spanish than you, says the white woman with a laugh. You don't speak Spanish, but you're Mexican, says the Hispanic woman with a sneer. A discontent to poke and stick and stitch a patterned fabric tightly around my spirit, an unsettling reflection that I am not light enough to be American, not cultured enough to be Mexican, not full-blooded enough to be native, but I am brown. Where does that leave me but aching for a place not to call home, but to call belonging? Thank you. And this next poem is a pandemic poem, and it's called Cold Gin and a Pandemic. A swig of fresh lime squeezed over ice. San Francisco's Junipero gin with a garnish soothes the overwhelm of more bad news and sudden heat. What I learned at home today. The length of estrangement becomes short in comparison to the weight of regret. 100 more days of solitude, a poet's irony. Bare white walls wait with open hearts to catch our sighs. How much I miss my father now that he is dead. Toss back tonic water with an extra kick. Catch the sun warming the side of my face through the glass door into the dining room. And now the reflection of how many years have passed. How the idea of a father became a ghost. How a ghost haunted me into adulthood. How adulthood became a poem always in the works. How poems became home. How hard it is to live inside this one. So many of my poems this year in particular have been a lot about generational trauma and grief. So this next one is a recent one along those lines. It's called Seaside Obituary. I remember it exactly as the day it was. Gray, overcast, the air salty. From pounding waves, the coastal winds learned to master. To get there, you had to enter a winding road, where each side of the concrete pathway was lined with standing gods in the shapes of redwoods. The scent of the air pungent with pine and petrichor as it entered the pickup truck windows, rolled down just enough to feel the chill. I was his daughter once. This day may have been the last day it was apparent. A drive to the ocean side, a walk through old settlement grounds of Jenner, place of original windmills, place of migration. He bought me an abalone hair clip. He ripped seaweed from rocks to humor his daughter, to feed his grumbling hunter stomach. How I long to remember how gentle this day was. How softly he tore the long, dirty green leaves from rugged rocks, contrasting how often his hands and words hit harder than the ocean hits sea stacks that have existed long before the sand we once stood on ever contained memory. How strange. What is revealed when remembrance chooses to reveal itself to you. How a sense of lonely becomes an unraveling tide, controlled not by the moon but by memory that pushes and pulls, opening neurological seascapes of muted recollections that still call my name. The ocean will always outlive us. I have outlived him. And I have just one more shorter poem that I'll close with. And this poem is called On My Cherry Wood Coffee Table. On my cherry wood coffee table, there is a stalk of artichoke standing in a clear vase filled with cold water, paired with sprigs of eucalyptus. I stare and stare and stare, maybe astonished by its presence. Green leaves in a greenhouse, maybe waiting for the face of some god to start speaking out of it, saying, "It's all right, darling." The vase sits on this furniture I've attempted to refurnish once before, to cover the deep claws of my childhood dog when she missed me so. Separation anxiety made her claw her way through the glossy cherry finish to try to get to me. I do this too, but to get closer to forgiveness. Thank you so much for having me.
Devastating reading. Thank you. The ocean will outlive us. Really powerful. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I feel the connections in our words already, and we'll see where else it takes us. So if we have extra time, I think we might invite everyone to come back and read another poem. So we'll see. Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, we are segueing from California to Santa Fe, New Mexico. Our next poet, Kyce Bello. I went to school with Kyce. We received our MFA in poetry together at the Institute of American Indian Arts. And Kyce, I don't see Kyce coming on, but we'll wait a second. But Kyce and I went to school together, and I was so grateful that I met her. And her poems are beautiful. I'm going to read her bio, but it's been a long time, Kyce, so it's really nice to see your face. I know we did some workshopping, but when you go to the Institute of American Indian Arts and you're in a small group, I think you get close and you learn each other's poems. And we've been to her home and we've met her beautiful children. And so I'm looking forward to coming back to Santa Fe. I'm definitely coming back. So Kyce just won a big announcement. Kyce's first book, Refugia, University of Nevada Press 2019, yes, please show it, was the inaugural winner of the Test Site Poetry Series, which seeks work that engages the perilous conditions of life in the 21st century as they pertain to issues of social justice and the earth. Last week, her book, Refugia, also received a New Mexico Book Award, which you found out from people telling you, which is just great. Kyce's poems explore intersections between language and landscape. She holds an MFA in poetry from the Institute of American Indian Arts and works as a registered nurse at a community hospital in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And I'm just so excited for y'all to hear her poems. I think this is the first time you've read in Wisconsin.
Yes.
So,
My debut.
Please welcome Kyce, and I know you're going to love these poems. Thanks so much, Kyce, for being here and for agreeing and working it into your schedule.
Of course. It's an honor and a joy to be here with so many incredible poets and to hear so many voices. Thank you, Angie, for weaving me in as we cast our web across the country. I can imagine some of you have the moon rising, some of you have the sun setting, and I'm right in the middle, I think, right now. My book is, they called it I think a work of like hope and something else. I can't find it on the back, but really I consider it a work of just utter grief and reverence for the earth and for our communities. And it looks at a lot. Tonight I'm not going to read those really heartbroken poems because I think we're all just, this has been a heartbreaking year. And I have other poems in here that are just going to take you into New Mexico, into our mountains, along our rivers, and hopefully I offer them as a medicine to restore your spirits wherever you might be, and just bring you into the beauty of this land, the healing goodness of it. Paper trail. I expect my own nest wants tending, the coop in need of mucking, the uncollected eggs, the pages I hang on the clothesline to air. A friend of mine turning 80 says, write for your great-grandchildren who will want to know you. But maybe you don't exist. My little one tells me she won't be a mother. She wants horses and to take care of me. I'm alone at the breakfast table, drinking tea. The floor is dusty and scattered in breadcrumbs, in paper scraps. Last night, the children cut out Valentines, heart after heart. It makes such a mess. I thought I would be barren. My cycle's parched rivers I recorded 53 times. 53 little windows peeking into the hen house, and each egg a mistranslated word. There's some a dictionary to a forgotten mother tongue. Strange how hard it is to speak to the future, to leave a paper trail. What I really want to say is learn to roast a chicken properly and walk every day. But surely advice is useless to the unborn. Perhaps I should write what I want to hear from the past. My grandmother's grandmother sighing in satisfaction at the sight of me. You are the best thing that could have happened next, she says, even though I am unbaptized. Still, she approves. My children are still children, but I already approve of their grandchildren. I want to tell them about that day in the high country when we followed Tesuque Creek until it disappeared into the mountain. We found words we couldn't read strewn along the banks. I gathered them with a knife, cut them like wild mushrooms from the ground, and I set them in my basket. I turn every last one gently, warm them with my palm, and whisper, I thought I knew your name, but was wrong. Grandmothers. Here's one that Angie helped me write. The washerwoman maps her body before death. I taste flowers by stepping on them, flor de maga on my breath. I speak hurricane and palm frond, take in laundry to scrub and hang like ghosts on a line. Men and women walking, bodiless, through the tropical night. On the day a needle enters my palm, sharp in the folds of laundry, emerald-beaked birds cry, Boricua, Boricua, quien, quien, quien. Every morning at the clinic, X-rays track the broken needle tip as it rivers upstream, quick silver bright against my bones. Length of arm, bend of shoulder, the twin wings of my breath. While I wait for death, birds sing their questions to me, and I embroider red buds on the rumors my daughter will wear. These poems move as much in inner landscapes as outer ones, and into the past and into the future. So I never really know which is which. Here's one called Rinconada. Rinconada is a village up north of Santa Fe along the Rio Grande, and it's the sweetest fruit in the state. Well, everywhere is the sweetest fruit, depending on where you're from, but Rinconada. The orchard is a ramshackle basket of small feasts gleaned from bent branches. The untended earth littered in apples, as if our origins had been scattered and left to seed. Perched on ladders, our children have round cheeks, wisps of hair glowing as the leaves do with slanted equinox light. They reach for peaches, small ones hung like tiny suns they can taste. I would take any wreck along this river and hang my lace in the windows, while the last of the fruit, dark maroon and glowing, spoils with sweetness. Somewhere in my recipe box is the one that returns me to my bearings. I can't find it, but just remembered that to make the best applesauce, all you need are the best apples. When was the last time you left something to cook in its own ravening juices? Hopefully we did that very recently. I don't know. I think I have time for 2 more short poems. And I'm just going to stick with autumn because let's celebrate the beauty of this time and the holding of death within life and cycles of renewal. Fall reckoning. You say these glowing trees are a lantern to see November by. its hanging strings and thin places held up to the light and exposed. We wrap ourselves in the afternoon's weave and cloak, its tangled overgrowth, a catalog of the late season's ripeness. Dried berries on the stem like outstretched palms, so open and indifferent. We cross the threadbare mountain wearing regret on our shoulders like tattered coats. The forest shivers, aspen leaves loosened until they glaze the dark path that led us here in gold. Okay, a very quick last one. Waveform. Just this one is for our ancestors and our unborn ancestors, the children that will come after us. And what I really want to say to the future is, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. We love you. Waveform. Poppy says the two lines of our ancestry are twins, walking hand in hand backward to one beautiful name. He takes skewers of meat from the fire, hands me an iron key. If prayer is an echo, how does it bend into the reaches of our bodies, ready-made as they are to listen? The key slips into its lock as late summer turns the berries, elder and bane, into dark red drops. If it is certainty you are looking for, tend the water boiling in the cook pot. Move it off the flame. Thank you all.
That's wonderful. I'm all teary over here. So thank you. So beautiful. Thank you so much for bringing your magical words. Yeah.
It was an honor.
Thank you. Wow. Okay. We are doing really well. Forgive me as I wipe my eyes because I'm all moist over here and it's a full moon and I don't want to ruin my makeup. I wear it so rarely. Our next poet guest, and thank you so much for being here. I hope you're feeling the poems like I am, but Raúl Sanchez. Raúl and I go back some time. Raúl's probably the first poet friend I had when I moved to Seattle, Washington. He was a member of Los Norteños. Some of my poems respond to Raúl's poems, actually, in those early days. And Raúl is the poet laureate of Redmond. I always think it's Seattle, but I know it's Redmond. But Raúl taught me a lot about putting a literary art show together in the early days. And I so appreciate that he's here tonight. And it's wonderful to see all his success. And if you don't know Raúl, look him up on Facebook. Take a look at his poetry project he has in his yard. Thank you, Raúl. I'm going to read your official bio now. But I'm really glad. And Devin says hello. Yeah. Raúl Sanchez is the newest City of Redmond Poet Laureate. He teaches poetry in Spanish at Evergreen High School through Seattle Arts and Lectures, also at Denny International Middle School through the Jack Straw Educational Project. Jack Straw Writers is a big deal, so if you don't know it, you might want to take a look. And volunteers for Pongo Teen Writing at the Juvenile Detention Center. Currently, he is translating Ellen Ziegler's book for the Museum of Antique Mexican Toys. It's so wonderful to have you here, Raúl. I'm looking forward to your writing, to hear what you've done, and I'm going to stop my camera so that you've got the whole floor.
Well, thank you, Angie, and thank you to all the ladies there, poets. There's nothing better to be in a group like you, and I value and I appreciate the poetry, the sentiment, the feeling, the message, and what we do. And as you can see, we all look a little different, perhaps somewhat the same when we're talking skin color. And this poem I'm going to read for you first is one that I wrote a few years ago, and it's not published yet, but it will be published in my forthcoming second book, finally, after 8 years of hiatus because I've been so busy. I wrote it for my daughter when she was younger. Growing up in America. Remember The classroom full of kids with different colors, skins, learning the difference between a noun and a pronoun. Remember how innocently everybody used to play together in the schoolyard? Remember how you shared your lunch and others shared theirs with you? Different flavors, different tongues. Now you are in high school, in a different classroom, different faces, same colored skins. Remember how it didn't matter where you came from, the sound of your voice and your indigenous features were not a subject of repugnant scrutiny and criticism. Learning from others the differences between races, why one ethnic group doesn't get along with others. Nathan Hill High School. Jesus. Sorry. Sorry about that. I should have turned the phone off. So, learning from others the differences between races, why one ethnic group doesn't get along with the others. Notice that same colored kids hang together like worms in compost. Now, ostracized due to your skin color, your name, your features, your other language, how does that feel? You get pushed to the end of the line, your hair pulled by others. They say, you are a greaser and a wetback. Your dad washes dishes at a Mexican restaurant, and your mother cleans toilets at Juby Hall. They mock you, playing your violin. They tell you, go back where you came from. Don't speak your Spanish language. Speak English. There's no class in the classroom. Only class divisions, ignorance, prejudice based on racial differences. Red men, yellow men, black, brown, white ones too. What happened to the innocence of the early years? Everyone learns the poison language of snakes. They use nouns, pronouns, and verbs that hurt others with their serpent tongues, bifurcated, contaminated, diseased approach to the culture of hate growing up in America. This one is more recent. My tongue, mi lengua. My tongue wears quetzal feathers, mystical birds from the Mayan paradise. My tongue retains the roaring sound of rivers, of the earth after the rain falling over leaves, branches, and flowers. My tongue is stained with the juice of sweet pitayas, red delicious, grown under Tonatiuh's rays, our father's son. My tongue reveres nature and all living beings, mountains, rivers, oceans, night and day. My tongue is impregnated with Calpuli, Tonali, Xochitl, Xochipili, Mictlantecutli, Cuauhtémoc, Moctezuma, Quetzalcoatl, Tomatl, Centeotl. My ancient tongue speaks Zapotec, Nahuatl, Purépecha, Tzotzil, Otomí, Chamula, Mayan, Tarahumara. My tongue speaks of temples, demigods, copal, flowers, medicinal flowers, plants, jade masks, golden pectorals, obsidian stones, volcanoes, and blood. My tongue is my identity. The connection to my people, my roots, my culture, my language is from the earth, from the heavens, from my soul. My tongue speaks. My soul feels the breath of the earth, the sound of the wind, ehekatl. My tongue, my language. My tongue speaks the language of culture and pride. This is for all of you ladies and all the women in the world. Women are from Coatlicue to Sor Juana Inés, women from all ethnicities have walked the earth with their tireless feet, giving birth, giving life. Rigoberta Menchú, Guatemala City, La Soldadera, Las Adelitas, Guerrilleras, Frida Kahlo, pintora, Cisneros, escritora, Lila Downs, cantora con su voz, sing songs to all rich, poor, happy or not, desperate lament of love. Pen at hand, Castellanos writes poems, Black ink bleeding on paper white, indelible as those. Women are sustainers, protectors, peacemakers, and warriors, beacons of humanity. Women are powerful. Women have the wisdom of the Creator to bear life. Without women, men cannot survive. Women are the yin of life. Their nurturing and motherly love make men out of children. Women know what we men don't. Women have a golden aura. Women shine. Women have charming power. Women change things. Women give life. Women give love. Women are curanderas, healers. Women are shamans. Like Maria Sabina, mushroom priestess. Women can bring down the sun and the stars if they want to. Women are the beauty of the world. Remember last year or maybe a couple of years ago, there was an issue with avocados coming from Mexico, which they said it was the new cocaine across the border. Well, when I heard that, I thought, really? So I wrote this ode to an avocado. But do you know the Aztec name for avocado is ahuacatl? And do you know the meaning of that word in Spanish? It means testicle. ATL is the name for water because it's a fruit and contains water. So ahuacatl. Imagine somebody going to a restaurant and say to the waiter, "Hey, can you bring me a little bowl of testicle sauce?" They're gonna, what? Well, because they don't know what it means. Ode to an avocado. You, shaped like an album seed in the middle of the branches, hanging with all your brothers and perhaps your sisters. Did you know that I've known you since I was 5? I really didn't really know you then, but I heard about you at that time. You were presented, introduced in my mouth as a mushy, soft, sometimes tangy, spicy, oniony, decadent delicacy served in small bowls and dipping dishes. The soft, green, creamy, buttery meat sensation in my palate could not identify the deliciousness on the hard, crusty skin that protects you. Dark green as the midnight dreams, bumpy as the cloudy days, bereft of sunlight. Where have you been? Oh, I see, hiding beneath the bushel crates of transported imported food other immigrants harvested at the right time, south of the equator, where alpacas, mules, donkeys, and mountain goats go, handled by those humble brown-skinned hands from faraway lands, where the sun shines brighter. You are free, but trapped in a plastic mesh with 5 other guys, your friends, I presume, even though the sign says 4 in a pack. Ahuacatl is your name, but nobody calls you that. I think I know why. Next is bilingual, English and Spanish. This poem first came to me in Spanish. People always ask me that. So do you write in Spanish or do you write in English? I said, well, I learned English when I was 5, growing up in Mexico City. So I live here now. Mostly it's the English influence, but I like a bargain and I make my own. So I like 2 for 1. I translate my own into other languages. In fact, I have some working in Nahuatl. I'm learning very slowly, but I'm learning it. So this one is in English and Spanish. Incarnated. I'll give you the Spanish first because that's how it came to me first. Encarnada, para Frida Kahlo. Encarnada, con labios de rosa, piel de la tierra, ojos de luna nocturna, flores en su cabello, como una reina estrella deslumbrante, acumarina, amarilla, emergiendo de la tierra, como una fuente de aliento, de vida, de calor, color, arte de ojo a ojo, de ceja a ceja y después al universo, nacida y creada entre mazorcas y el maíz, crecida de la tierra, morena como el color de su piel. Now the English version. Incarnated after Frida Kahlo. Incarnated with rose petal lips, earth color skin, eyes like midnight moons, flowers on her hair, like a star queen, brilliant, shimmering yellow aquamarine, emerging from earth, a fountain of hope, life, color, heat, art from eye to eye unbound, from eyebrow to eyebrow, born and created into the universe, among corn, plants, husks, grown from the ground, our earth, brown as the color of her skin. Thank you. We'll wait for the next round. Maybe I can share one more. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Raúl. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. Really wonderful. And I laughed so hard, I accidentally pumped myself out and then got back. So in the comments, I think we had more than a few chuckles. So that was wonderful. I appreciate it. Oh my goodness. Okay, now it's me. It's 8:09 and I'm not going to do my own bio because I don't think I need to. I will say that yesterday I did a workshop for Madison College on how to get through a racially charged pandemic. And this morning I started doing safety training for domestic violence and sexual assault organizations. So I've had a good couple days. And I want to start with a poem that comes from my full manuscript that's still looking for a home. And Kyce helped me fine tune this poem. And so I want to share it with you all because it was called What I Lost. And she's like, what if you said what I found? And so that's the title. And I spent some time in Isla Mujeres, and it was such a magical place. And I felt very connected to my ancestors there. And I was tall. I was kind of tall for once, which is very rare. I'm about 5'2", but I felt tall. So this is the poem called What I Found. Sun-worshipping lizards lounging on volcanic rocks, stone walls, rebar patches, snatches of fishermen nets, bottle caps, pirates' nests, iguana zip on marble floors, hide in cool stucco houses, stroll in manicured gardens with split tongues, stop traffic, a loose way of walking, the island roll of the hips, lips to sing Black Magic Woman in Spanish, Latin roots tuning the bars of my crib. Mango juice for breakfast, pork tamales, marigold yolks, cream-filled pan dulces that spill when you bite, motorbikes balancing for heartbeats, pocket dogs, grandmas and girls, turquoise casas that mirror the Caribbean, somersault towards the sea, washing dishes and yellow porcelain sinks under the back stairs, rolling under stars, sea breeze, dried saucers, wind whipped towels, fishermen who float at dawn, the sky tangerine, no wooden boat, just bodies on water. And that is from my full manuscript. I'm going to read a poem that doesn't get much airplay. And it's called Child Pose Cannot Hold. Child pose cannot hold. Shaken core, faith falls to floor, hollow where once her heart beat. Pores soak heat, body runs cold, blind, I fill up forms with holes. Lost, still one pant leg at a time, she tries on belief. Sisters lift her up in yogic steam, child pose cannot hold her. She pays bills, writes checks, remembers the adored, why it is not enough, does the daily chores, showers, feeds, and waters. She dances, pretends all is fine, packs suitcases for no arrivals, looks for confidence in her bureau like the real twin she once had. I know what I have lost, deep in glass and star horses. Watch sun rise, fall, let waves wash, ankle-crushing rocks. Pain keeps me alive. One cries, pretends it is rain. With good news, she makes designs to go away, leaves sad girl behind with hair streaked gray, pulls poems from marrow for travel. Pine smell, word rivers, turkey crows, rabbits who plow holes. Poetry prop spine when she would cave. Lies grow long as summer, silent summer nights. She knows he does not want her, though the words cross his lips. In it like never before, neck deep, she pores over sheets, makes sense of petroglyphs found in notebooks, tries to recapture what she meant to say. She crawls to the finish line, back hurts, tears come uncalled, wriggles with self-doubt, in blankets, cannot sleep, tries to recall her name. Birthday comes and goes in a wave of turkey and booze. More poses, less dance. Still, letters carved out of my forehead spill on the page. End with a few good lines. Papers wrote, deceit billows. She thinks she is an island where words marry, witness creation, lava flows. I'm going to read from my book, In Light, Always Light, which is half of my master's thesis. I'm going to read a poem I don't usually read called Patina. And I want to say I honor my ancestors. I honor the land I live on. I live on Ho-Chunk land. I do not forget that. In Madison, Wisconsin, we all live on Ho-Chunk land. This is called Patina. And sometimes I get lines of poems, and I have this line where my mother told me over 20 years ago in poetry, they don't live with death every day like we do. And I feel like that is part of my ancestry, my indigenous ancestry, my native ancestry. So my quote for this poem, this whole book starts with a line from C.D. Wright, which I felt so strongly. Poetry is the language of intensity. Because we are going to die, an expression of intensity is justified. Here's the poem, Patina. Body scars, older lives, tongues, caresses, whip marks, spilled milk, broken fences. My skin is a patina of conquerors, the conquered, slave smiles, earth hands flattened by the press of burnt tin, wheelbarrows. Sleek hair shows up white now and then when thoughts of carnage and lost people slay pigment. Survivors can live through lines on a page, their voices ringing in pencil and ink. Beyond death, art speaks. I have always been a woman. Your sister's bloodlines pulse fire in your veins. Our wee ventricles burst on occasion. Brain beats still asleep. Muses on all the people you know who have passed to the grave, to vases of bone and ash, who walk in dreams, speaks lines of poetry in the dark, their voices alive at night. I know times are hard. So I'm going to read Fragments in Time. And my sister is pregnant with twin boys. And I wrote this poem a long time ago. But sometimes I think if poets were honest, we would say we don't always know where poems come from. And when those voices come, they demand to be heard. So this is a poem that I don't know where it came from, and I don't know who wrote it. But here it is. Fragments in Time. Moonlight radiates down, children do not mourn, parents buy new shoes, rabbits copulate in grass, leap over each other and dash. Cracking open a woman, a child bursts itself, bodies arc over steering wheel, fog condenses glass, we find each other and voice in my head says, he is the one. After the fall, people see they are not who they thought. Fortify hope in a wooden barrel, send her over water to live in her grandparents' stable, wait out the peril. Dust storms, train tracks pounding down her back, nails piercing flesh, hand rotting, still attached. Shoulder-length hair, khaki crescendo, camel jacket windsails, ghost bodies hang around invisible ankles, gray cement. He follows me, shouts from corners, beware, beware. Grandson places hand in sandpaper fold, parachutes to shoulders, peers down fields where white herons alight. Flocks migrate, nest at feet of skyscrapers, exhaust fumes, birch oasis. Moonbeams fled evening, babies born with wings flee fire steeples, plant pine forest temples along the shores of ancient rivers start over. What was our first language? Poets resist death of a people, fingertips bless pen, paper. Full moon halo crowns campus, new humans born, two heartbeats beating, sound. I'm just going to read two more. This one was recently picked up. I'm happy. It's a weird little poem. It's called Morning Ends with a Call, and it's morning, MOURING/morning, as in good morning. Morning ends with a call. We lost those paper boys that summer, safety flags dashed, no bottom of the well to cradle you for the rescue, they vanished. Before it was just us girls, mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, cousins, cling to empty hands. At the bus stop before school, a slow car invoked a mad pelt toward neighbor bushes, a blue spruce, a fence's slim slap protection. The Hammond organ pounds the glass with its black and white keys. I drink coffee on my deck while the world burns below. Metallic beetles clamp geranium leaves. Species from another planet, fugitives in disguise, scarlet head eyes. Little guy next door cannot speak. Mother chain smokes, hatching, shares her cigarette, fingertips to lips, wrist handoff, pregnant together, remote. There is sound in silence, she thinks. Now marigold is the color of hope, and she trusts in dandelions, sunflowers, the sun past rising, butter, its salty forever taste, banana pudding, our dessert most meals, a quick whip, steak night, brilliant, knife and fork divine, kid bites. To turn the channel, use pliers, dear. Salad days, garden prayers, us as little girls, who knew we had it easy? Yellow, my season of color, Snapdragon's gold car, summer shoulder sweaters slip at a concert, fall to the grounds. Two wheels christen asphalt, chicas sail on the street, pink neon streamers surrender, braids spiral in their hair. Rabbit squirrels haunt the bird feeder, deck yoga, oak branches overhead. A crow caws obsidian, splits the green. It's a strange little poem. I think poetry is a visual art form. I learned that at the Institute of American Indian Arts, and I spend a lot of time on my lines. This one is What and That, and this is my last poem, and then we'll see what happens after that. And this was nominated for the Orison Anthology, which is for Best Spiritually Engaged Poetry. I don't think I won. I think I would have gotten an email. So who knows? What and That. And I want to say, so there's music in my work sometimes, and this one in particular. So earlier when I was practicing, I was snapping my fingers because I am trying to pick up a beat. So maybe you'll hear it. What and That. What woman picked the corn, split the husk, and molded the seed that fed the people and opened the world? What being climbed down the tree, made the savannah a refuge? Who caught the strike that lit the bush, that started the spark that became the flame, that lit the hearth and traveled village to village, hollowed horn of smoldering smoke that started the fire, that cooked the kill, that fed the self to grow so big? What worker birthed the child, cut the cord, swaddled it, and kept on going down her row? What mother walked thousands of miles with two hands held, and those smaller than her own? What father carried his child over mountaintops, swam through rivers, crossed deserts and lakes with one arm? What prisoner pierced the lock, walked out into the sunshine? What grandparent let her daughter sleep while the child rose, bathed its skin in rosewater and lavender, sang songs of ones and twos until it cooed back ohs and ahs blowing bubbles? What woman picked the corn, split the husk, and spilled the seed that fed the people and opened our world? And that's my last poem. It's 8:23. Araceli, can you bring us all back so we can like wave or talk or something? I know it's a lot of us, but here we are. Thank you so much. People come back. Oh, hello. Yes. Little ones are welcome. Bring them all. Yeah. And Araceli, where are you? We don't see you. Maybe you're behind. Awesome. I just want to say thank you to everyone. I don't know if everyone wants to say a couple final words. I would open it up. I certainly would trust you to say whatever you want. It's 8:24. We've got a few minutes. I don't know. Whatever you're feeling, whatever you want to say to people, you know.
Well, do you want us to read one more or just chat about?
If you feel moved, you go right ahead. If that's, yeah.
I heard, oh boy. Let me look at the list.
It would be awesome if let's just do the rounds where we start with Dana and then we'll go around again.
There you go. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what? I don't have another. I can do the honor of reading someone else's poem. Like I was thinking of Jasmine Mendez, but I don't have one right now. So I can also just pass the mic.
Up to you. If you feel.
All right, I'm gonna read Jasmine Mendez, Along the Border.
Okay.
On a dirt road, on a drive to El Campo, you found a bate. I cut the cane. We sucked on a stalk. You gave me your arms. I swam in the river. We locked the door. Then the lights went out and the radio played. You fingered the pesos. I walked to the beach. We fried the fish. You ate the mango. I jumped in the water. We bought the flowers. Then the migrants came and you bartered for more. Then the sirens blared and they were carried away, but we didn't stop them. Then the ocean swept and the palm trees sagged. They were foreigners. We were foreigners and we lived there.
Nice. Thank you. Alida.
Yes, that was so beautiful. Yeah, this whole evening has just been inspiring. Thank you everyone for sharing. It's like I'm very activated when just in sacred poet circles and things to start moving, and then and thank you. I think it was you, Tia, that said like sometimes we don't know where the poems come from, but they need to be witnessed. Here's Ikal. I would like to share this these words: fly, dream, soar, feel, love, cry, water, waterways, water yourself, water them, let them water you, let them water you, them, theys, we, us, all of us, watering, watery, fluid, flowing, flowering, let your mind flower, imagine, imagination, a bloom, what's not possible when we are watering, all of us. 1 second, baby. All of us watering, all of us blooming, dripping, and the sun, the smiles are the sunshine. The sunshine is the candle flame. The flame is one another. One another is everything. Everything is all the prayers are watered. All the prayers will flower between us.
Love it. Love it. Thank you. Georgina.
Hi, everyone. I think I'm going to pass on reading another poem, but I just want to say thank you all for having me. This was an incredible reading. I'm so thankful for everyone for sharing your work and for including me in it. Thank you all.
It won't be long. We'll be back.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. Okay, Kyce.
Okay. Yeah, thank you all again for sharing your voices tonight. And I'm going to find a short poem to say goodnight with. Wow. I think I would. Looks like I'm done, folks.
Okay.
Raúl and Angie.
Okay, I respect that. Yeah, it's wonderful to hear your words again. It reminded me of our workshops. Yeah, worked so hard. Yeah, thank you. Raúl.
Yes. Okay, I think at this moment we all, in our environments, in our cities, in our country, in the world, we all need a good cleansing, shaman style with copal and incense and whistles and rattles. So I'm going to leave you with this poem I wrote for my grandmother, titled Smoke. Has an epigraph. When I was a young boy, my grandmother cleansed my body with herbs. This a tribute to Grandma Carmen. She swiftly brushed my body with ramas de piru and flowers. Red ribbon held the willow branches. She brushed away my stretched limbs, bad energy away from me. Fragrant sap remained on fingers dark from cutting, herbs, frankincense, chunks of burning copal, top, down, left, right. Her eyes closed, cleansing smoke. Branches swirled the smoke with every stroke, shaking, filtering negative energy. The room full of smoke, cleansing smoke, chasing evil spells. Silent prayer whisper echoed through the smoke. She opened her eyes, 2 moons behind the clouds. She wrapped the loaded branches, told me to throw it behind my back and walk away into the light. We all need that cleansing in our houses, in our minds, in our hearts, in our neighborhoods. Thank you so much, Angie. Georgina, we can see you at the end of the month.
Thank
Guys, good to
you.
meet you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Angie. Gracias.
I think Araceli wants to close, and I'm just going to say I'm so grateful for you. I really am. And I'm going to ask for your addresses because I have a little gifts for you all. So maybe you can just put them in the email to me, and I will send you something in gratitude. And Araceli, you're going to close us out. The woman behind the curtain. Thank you, Araceli.
Thank you, all of us. If you have questions for the poets, please let us know in the comments. Thank you for everyone who's been watching us tonight. Wow, it's almost like 8:30 and now we have like over 30 people watching us. Thank you so much. Obviously, we're like late nights. Okay, I wanted to end with a quote from Undocumented Americans, always supporting other Latinx writers. Carla Cornejo Villaseñor has written this book recently, and I want to read a quote from it. She's a very gifted writer, and in this book, she's reporting on Staten Island off of New York and talking to the migrant workers that are there, the day laborers. And so the scene is she's there at a monthly meeting. The center is called the Colectiva Por Fin. And it's her first night on Staten Island. There's a lot of day laborers there. She's in this Colectiva Por Fin room, I assume a nonprofit. And the room is small, she says. But as more men come in, it seems to double and triple in size. On the wall, migrants are celebrated through art that strikes me deeply annoying. Mostly the word migrant, reconfigured as butterflies. And she says, fucking hate thinking of migrants as butterflies. Butterflies can't fuck up a bitch up. she says. Tonight, 50 men end up gathering in a room, plus a couple of women, including a young white female pastor who works for Project Hospitality, a parent of a nonprofit. What struck me so much of this quote is the idea of how we've been thinking of ourselves as vulnerable butterflies, and how she says, butterflies can't fuck up a bitch. And it is so true. I love how this young author takes us somewhere where our strength is more than what we transcend in our vulnerability, right? And so I chose this and this quote because of that. And I wanted to just honor all of our voices tonight as like, yeah, we can fuck up a bitch with our voices if that is our goal. But maybe that's not, you know. But whatever it is that we decide to move in our space and expand our wings and fly further than what is thought of. And so just to continue this beautiful saga of our words and taking up space. And I'm so honored to have so many beautiful poets across the continent, across the Americas, because we are all America, right? We're all the Americas. And so I leave this to Angie to lead us off for tonight. And I'm just so excited that we're all here tonight and that you all have been staying with us steadily. We've had a great, beautiful audience. And thank you again for sharing our work. Keep supporting the arts, keep supporting the right to vote, and support immigrant rights, and support Black Lives Matter. It matters to us tonight. And here we are taking a space. So thank you, Angie, for bringing us all together. And with that, I pass.
Yeah, this has been such wonderful work to have people I admire in a room together across Turtle Island, and here we are. So I look forward to more collaborations. And please, I know, send me your email, send me your address so I can send you gifts. So I want to just extend my love and gratitude. These are times that we need to hold on to our words, and I know things are hard, but there is light. And that's the title of my book, In Light, Always Light, because like James Baldwin, I'm alive and I have hope. And I know we can change the world. We can, because the other side would want us to give up. We do not give up. We have little elders. Dana once said we're healing backwards. And I think about these unborn children that are going to be popping out in the world soon. And I'm going to be the TT that's there to show them, to read poems to them. And, you know, we all have a role to play. So very, very much in love and gratitude for all of you. So thank you. And have a good night. Okay.
Yes, do.
Thank you.
Bye all.
Thank you. Goodbye. Bye, everyone. Bye.